On July 22, 1957, Ford teased America with a shadowy advertising campaign in Life magazine featuring a sleek, mysterious car speeding down a country highway, an indistinguishable blur. The headline read, "Lately, some mysterious automobiles have been seen on the roads." Something momentous was coming from Ford, something mysterious, a car like any other, the car that would change everything. Then, the big reveal. On September 4th, Ford unveiled the most mysterious, most anticipated car of all time, the Edsel.
This is the Edsel. It looks expensive, it acts expensive, but it is unforgettably original. The Edsel engines are the newest in the world. The car that presents originality and elegance. Remember, driving an Edsel is an experience no man should miss.
But the reaction was far from what Ford had hoped. Visitors found the actual car underwhelming compared to the grandeur promised in the hype. As a result, it was a catastrophic financial failure, costing Ford more than $350 million, which is equivalent to $3.7 billion today. How could this have happened? How could a company like Ford, with all of their resources and expertise, stumble so badly? Welcome to Curious Station. Stay tuned to find out what went wrong with the Edsel. The origins of the Edsel go back to the fall of 1948, 7 years before the year of decision, when Henry Ford II, the grandson of Henry Ford, formed a committee to look into the viability of a new car in the expanding medium price segment of the automotive market. At the time, it was common for low-income owners of Fords, Plymouths, and Chevrolets to trade their cars for a medium-priced vehicle once their earnings increased. This should have been a golden opportunity for Ford. Their Mercury brand fit the bill pretty perfectly. But there was a hitch. Instead of upgrading to a Mercury, Ford owners often opted for General Motors' Oldsmobile, Buick, and Pontiac, and/or, to a lesser extent, Chrysler's Dodge and DeSoto. The Korean War intervened, postponing the decision on a new car until about 1952. With the war ending in late 1952, Ford set aside the ideas and established the Forward Product Planning Committee. They assigned the Richard Craffey-led Lincoln Mercury division. 2 years later, the committee delivered a comprehensive report outlining its findings. In April of 1955, with the plan approved, Craffey was promoted to director of the Special Products Division. Designers, already sketching concepts, dubbed the project the E-Car, with E standing for experimental. A young Canadian designer, Roy A. Brown, spearheaded the E-Car's design. The goal was to create a car with a strong, unique styling that was instantly recognizable from any angle. Functionality was also a priority, with plans for innovative features. By the mid-1955, the E-Car's design was finalized. Its most striking aspect was a novel horse-collar-shaped radiator grille positioned vertically in the center of a low, wide front. However, Brown and Craffey made two bold decision choices that defied the trends. First, they opted for a distinctive rear end with horizontal wings instead of the popular towering tail fins. Second, they introduced a unique push-button automatic transmission on the steering wheel. By early 1956, the development of the E-Car was well underway, and the question of its name loomed large. What should this be called? Early on, it was suggested that the car be named after Edsel Ford. However, Henry Ford II strongly objected to using his late father's name Edsel, fearing it would be spinning around on thousands of hubcaps. Ford then launched an extensive name search, asking employees to participate, promising the employee who chose the name would win a free E-Car. They even hired an advertising firm to assist in the name search. The search yielded over 6,000 names, including Citation, Corsair, Pacer, and Ranger, which would ultimately become part of the Edsel's model lineup. But the search didn't end there. Desperate to find a name, manager of marketing research David Wallace even approached Pulitzer Prize-winning poet Marianne Moore. While undeniably creative, her list included some truly outlandish suggestions like Mongoose Clivique and Utopian Turtletop. Needless to say, these never made it past the manager's desk. With time running out, Ernest Breech, the second in command, who was leading a board meeting in Henry Ford II's absence, decided to name the e-car Edsel as a tribute to Henry Ford's son. To further distinguish the Edsel, Ford decided to sell the Edsel through a brand new dealer network. They aimed to have 1,200 dealerships established well before the car's launch. However, many of these dealers were new to the auto industry, adding a layer of risk to the Edsel's success. Months before the reveal, Ford began a teasing campaign. Ads showcased a single image, the Edsel's hood ornament, accompanied by the cryptic message, "The Edsel is coming." Another ad depicted a covered car carrier emblazoned with the same tagline, further fueling the mystery. Ford kept the car itself a closely guarded secret. Dealers were forbidden from revealing the Edsel, storing them under wraps, and risking fines or even losing their franchise for a peek too soon. All of this secrecy fueled a frenzy of public curiosity. Everyone was eager to see what Ford had hidden under wraps. Edsel's pre-launch promotional campaign was nothing short of extensive as well. To create excitement and anticipation for the introduction day, Ford invested significantly into a lavish marketing campaign. They utilized a wide range of mediums, including catchy jingles, teaser campaigns, celebrity appearances, music, fairs, television ads, radio ads, and newspaper ads. Finally, on September 4th, 1957, the big day arrived. Ford introduced its newest model, the Edsel. The company called that day E-Day. The pre-publicity initially had seemed to work. Car showrooms became packed with curious visitors eager to see the car. In the first week of its launch, almost 3 million members of the U.S. public visited Edsel showrooms. At launch, Ford took an unusual step, making 18 different versions of the Edsel available across 4 models: the larger Citation and Corsair, and the smaller, lower-priced Pacer and Ranger. This contrasted with most car companies at the time, which offered a more limited selection of models. The Edsel came equipped with high-end features like self-adjusting brakes, automatic transmission with teletouch drive, which was a push-button system mounted on the steering wheel hub, air conditioning, and Ford's newest FE Series V8 engine. By November of 1957, it became clear that Edsel's sales were far below expectations. The car simply did not live up to the immense hype created by the pre-launch campaign. Ford had ambitious plans for the Edsel, hoping to sell at least 200,000 units in the first year. However, over 2 years, only 109,000 Edsels found buyers, representing a tiny fraction, or less than 1% of the U.S. car market during that period. This sales slump resulted in an estimated loss of $350 million for Ford, which is equivalent to $3.7 billion today. Faced with these dismal sales figures, the Ford company had to discontinue Edsel's production permanently on November 19, 1959. So what had gone wrong? The Edsel's demise wasn't a single misstep, but rather a confluence of unfortunate factors. Here's a closer look at some of the key reasons for its failure. It was a victim of timing. One major misstep was the time lag between conception and launch. Back in 1955, the dominant design trend was big, flashy cars with towering fins, and that's what Ford designed, the Edsel. By the time it reached the showrooms in 1957, just as the United States was entering a recession, consumer spending was tightening, especially on big-ticket items like new cars. Smaller, more economical compacts were now the new darlings on the market. Quality control woes. In fact, many Edsel owners were plagued with problems from the start. Edsel lacked its own dedicated factory, leading to quality control issues. Sharing assembly lines with Mercury's led to parts being mixed up or even missing, resulting in incomplete vehicles delivered to dealerships. This created a frustrating experience for both dealers struggling to prepare the cars for sale and potential buyers facing initial repair hassles. Styling misfires. Customers were not impressed with the so-called futuristic appearance, and the unique oval-shaped vertical grille design was subject to mockery, often referred to as a horse collar or a toilet seat. Automotive writers astoundingly trashed the Edsel, going so far as to compare that grille to the female sex organ. They also mocked the car's appearance to an Oldsmobile sucking a lemon. For the second model year, the Edsel received a grille redesign, switching from the vertical motif to a horizontal one for the third year, ironically resembling a 1959 Pontiac. However, this change came rather late in the Edsel's production, and furthermore, in an age where all the successful cars had tail fins, the Edsel was finless. According to Bob Casey, curator of transportation at the Henry Ford Museum, this fact meant that the Edsel didn't quite fit into people's vision of a car. Price point confusion. Ford intended the Edsel to bridge the gap between its lower-priced offerings and the newly repositioned Mercury brand, which had moved towards a higher price segment. However, the most expensive Edsels, exceeding $4,000, roughly equivalent to $36,000 today, overlap significantly with the Mercury's offerings. This price confusion left consumers unsure whether the Edsel was a mid-market or a luxury car, ultimately prompting them to look elsewhere. For these and other reasons, the Edsel ultimately proved to be the wrong car for the wrong market at the wrong time. This car-turned-joke finally drove out of showrooms into history as one of the most spectacular new product failures ever. At this point, it's safe to assume that the Edsel name will forever be synonymous with failure. The automobile industry, however, has learned valuable lessons from Ford's experience. Notably, Chrysler, a competitor of Ford, is said to have used the Edsel as a cautionary tale when developing their new models. So there you have it, the story of the Ford Edsel, a car that was supposed to be a revolution, but instead became a historical footnote. What do you think went wrong with the Edsel? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more fascinating stories like this one. Thanks so much for watching.